Greetings, fellow Swifties. Tiki here.
Hi, Swifties.
Oh my god. No,
Obi, what's your favorite Taylor Swift song?
God.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I like it.
I have not ever listened to a Taylor Swift album in full in my life. Never. Not once. All right.
I don't usually listen to albums in full, so I was gonna say I think I might be the same, but no, because last So You Want to Be Imagineering, I was a part of a Taylor Swift musical, so I listened to that Folklore album more than once.
Anyways, guys, so we are back. It's Citrus Dreamin. We're on expedition number 6, the Epcot Adventure. Pi, you're going to reveal right now. First, I want you to set up exactly what the river is, and then after that, after we get the context, you're going to reveal the winner of this project live on air, which I'm very excited about because we haven't been able to really do any sort of game reveals live on air yet. So yeah. So really quick, Pi, we're in the middle of what you like to call, is it a river or is there more to it than just the river? When I think of the river, I just think of poker.
This is the Rapid River. Each of the games divided into different acts. There was the first river, then there was the Winding River where they had to make choices. This one is the Rapid River. But yeah, so these are shorter rounds, so more focused on simpler concepts, and then just do what you can with the simple concept. Go fast, work together. Usually involves a lot of pluses or just taking one idea and going all in on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's definitely an interesting concept. It's going to end in... do we have it set, like, is it going to be a double elimination, or are you not, like, is it going to be, like, at least one elimination, maybe more? How is that? Remind me how that's going to work.
It's at least one elimination. It could be 2, but it's at least 1. I'm leaving it as a bit ambiguous, bit of a mystery, keep people on their toes a bit. But there will be 1 elimination, and the Golden Dole Whip will be awarded at the end of it.
Ooh. I will say, also, one of the elements that I actually really like, that's kind of like a new gameplay mechanic I haven't really seen in one of these games, is basically stacking immunities through multiple rounds. So essentially, all of the project leaders of the winning projects are going to be safe through whatever eliminations happen. And I really like that. I think that adds kind of a new dynamic to it, and definitely more of an incentive for the project leaders to pull out that win.
Yeah, because by the end of the Rapid River, there will be 4 people. Because the last round of the last river, as well as the 3 rounds in the river, there's going to be 4 people with immunity. That's almost a third of the game.
Yeah, that's actually kind of crazy when you break it down like that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Just going to shout out. We have Muppet Fan and Pix in the comments, as well as Code Gios with his mandatory cameo.
Hi.
All right. Pix says, whenever I think of a river, I think of becoming a man. Must be Swift and all that. I genuinely have no idea. I assume that's a Taylor Swift lyric. What?
Mulan. Must be swift as a raging river. No.
Oh God. Okay. Wow. I'm slow. I'm slow on the uptake there. Got it. Anyways. So this round, Pi, I must admit, this was my least favorite prompt that you have brought out so far in the game.
I had a feeling it would be a little bit of a controversial one, I'll admit.
It's not a bad prompt. It's just very basic, whereas I feel like most of your other prompts have had very much a level of, like, ingenuity behind them. And not to mention, as far as Armchair Imagineering stuff goes, I've found that, like, marketing campaigns and events and stuff like that don't tend to produce the most exciting stuff. That being said, I do think both teams did a really good job this round. I think it's interesting because here's how I would break this down. I think let me make sure I got the teams right. I think Team Boats, they definitely had the stronger presentation visually, and also a more kind of like unique way to execute the concept that they had.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Team Birds, I think Team Birds was a lot more realistic about what an Epcot festival would actually be. They focused a lot more on the food, which is obviously a big component to Epcot festivals. So, yeah, two really solid projects. But alas, there can only be one winner, and I don't want my my input to influence your decision. I will say before I hand it over to you to announce the winner, MVP votes, people. MVP votes.
Yeah.
Pi and I are like actually getting kind of close in the points. So we have Red. I think this is the first time that you've joined us live this season. So happy to have you.
Might be. Hi.
Also, if Red wins MVP, then it's just neither Pi or I. Wait. Isn't it that both of us get -5 points? Isn't that it? I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Red is on the table. So vote for her, but it's OB is going to be taking all the reward there. Anyways. Okay. So, yeah, MVP votes, people. Please get them. They're actually going to matter because Pi, like I said, you are if the next elimination comes from my team, depending on how this MVP vote goes, you could actually pull ahead. So yeah, I think making that one adjustment to have the MVP worth 5 points instead of 1 really did make a difference as far as evening out the scores. Anyways, enough of my rambling and fantasy. Wow, that's a new term for fantasy sports. Fantasy #fantasy.
Yeah.
We also have Tegan here. Happy to have you, Tegan. Anyways, Pi, who won?
Like you said, there was the big dichotomy here where I feel like, and I mentioned it in the reviews, I feel like Team Birds with the Festival of Stories had a stronger festival. It felt more like Epcot. It had more cohesion to it. It felt more practical, and I just think it worked better. But like you said, Team Boats did such a good job of the presentation with all the pluses. I do accept bribes, Muffet fan. I'll give you my Venmo later. But at the same time, I feel like the music festival, I had more issues with it as being like a good thing, but not feeling like an Epcot festival. Do I go for the Flash or do I go for the one I think had the most substance? In this case, at least, while it was very close, I'm going to give it to, I'm going to double check names so I don't say the wrong name and do a full-on La La Land here.
That's your fault. That's completely your fault.
Oh, yeah. It's fully my fault. But yeah, I'm going to give the win to Team Birds with the Festival of Stories.
You are wrong, sir. You are wrong. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm kidding.
I get that. Like I said, I went back and forth a lot. Honestly, I read them right away. And then I read them again today when I did the reviews. And then I skimmed them again while we were preparing for this. And just, I think every time I changed my mind on who I was leaning
on. Oh, really? That's funny. Yeah. Okay. Tegan. MVP Tegan. All right. We have one vote.
If you had done the bribe, this could have done differently.
Tegan is on the board with the MVP. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's break this down. I will say I'll just give my quick kind of like synopsis sort of thesis statement on why I personally prefer Team Bert. Team Bert's. Bert! You're being violent again, Bert!
Yeah.
God, anyways. Oh, Team Boats, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Team Boats is the one that I wanted to win. All right.
Yeah.
I just, honestly, Pi, for me, it really does come down to presentation. Because here's the thing. We talked about the forum post versus, Google Doc or Google presentation or whatever last time. And I think for the context of just a basic dark ride, a forum post was perfectly fine because it's a very basic thing. I was missing the being able to flip through different categories and having it sectioned off when I was reading through this, because there's a lot of components to this as a festival. I also do think that while the food was really well executed, and the food, this is the tricky part because the food was literally half the project, but I feel like that's being realistic for what an Epcot festival would be, even if so I really would have liked to see more of an emphasis on the actual story component to it. Whereas I feel like that's kind of what gives me the edge for Boats, is that I feel like Boats focused a lot more on what the festival was actually like, advertising, and not just trying to come up with like food items based on the festival theme. Does that make sense?
It does. And
all right.
I do think you are right about that. They put a lot more focus on that. But I think the inverse side of that, though, is that when it came to the food, it felt like it could have been a food booth at like any other festival. There wasn't like a theme that tied into the melodies. And while food's such a big part, that was another thing that kind of held that team back. Whereas Team Boats did a very good job. Team Birds did a very good job. I think it was Monroe Red who did the food, tying it to the theme of the stories. So it didn't just feel like food to me. It felt like it stuck with the festival theme.
I feel that. The food is definitely the highlight for me.
But like you said, I do have to definitely duck points from Birds for presentation, because I also went through, I don't think there was a single photo.
Yeah, that's an issue, especially when it's just a forum post. You need that kind of visual engagement to break it up, or honestly, even just headings and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
They did have headings.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, they had headings. They had format.
To be fair to them, in their defense with the forum post thing, I did read this on my phone on the bus. So if I would have read it on my laptop, it might not have been as big of an issue. All right.
And Muppet Fan, you make a good point that the music festival, so the music should be the focus, but it's also an Epcot festival, and the food and like all of that is a big focus on the Epcot festivals.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why I thought this prompt would be kind of controversial, why I wanted to make sure it was in like a fast river where it didn't matter quite as much who won. Because I know these are kind of controversial things. I really like the festivals. I have festival prizes here that I won from scavenger hunts. This is my Orange Bird Cup from Flower and Garden last year. Tiny cornhole I got for Flower and Garden this year.
Wait, what? Hold that up to the camera. Oh my god, that's amazing. Oh, I love that.
If you don't know, because I know you're not a guy as much, the Epcot festivals, the scavenger hunts cost like $10 to do, but then you get an actual prize at the end.
Okay.
Like this Olaf cookie cutter. Very clearly Olaf. How could you not tell that's Olaf?
I was like, what? That does not.
Or for Festival of the Arts, I got this little statue of Mickey that came with paint, so you could paint.
Oh, that's
I make sure he has Juicy on his ass.
Oh my god. Wow.
So the point. Thank you, Tiki. And this is wholesome.
It was wholesome all the way up until then. Anyways. Okay,
the point is I like the festival, so I was happy to see the teams do it. And I think they both did do a really good job.
All right, Red saying, yeah, I did do the menu for birds, and yeah, super word heavy this round. Not a problem. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like a couple photos to break it up, or if you did on like a presentation format where you could break it into sections more. I think I even suggested just putting the menus in spoiler tags.
That would be good. I could see that. Yeah. All right. Okay, so let's go. Let's start with Team Boats.
Yes.
I got to tell you guys, right off the bat, I was so freaking sold by the meta narrative going on here with the Epcot Cella thing. I honestly thought that was genius, and that really like grabbed my attention right away. This is obviously very different for Epcot. This is not your standard Epcot festival, and I think that is where our difference of opinion is kind of coming from.
Yeah.
Because I don't like, you know what's funny is that I could see, like, you know, in the 90s when they had that Barbie show and stuff like that, like I could see 90s like Eisner era Disney leaning way more into this stuff than current Disney.
I really do like the idea of the festival that's also a music festival and all different pop-up stages utilizing the whole park like that.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm low-key a little bit surprised that they haven't done, maybe not something to this scale, maybe not something with like this level of you know, like high caliber performers, but I'm kind of surprised that they haven't done a music festival, just given the fact that Epcot is very much the hangout park anyways. You got the drinking and the food thing going on. You got the big main stage right in the middle of World Showcase. Like you said, there's a lot of opportunities to do little pop-up stages all over the place.
Which they do have a lot of music with the festivals. Even most of them will have both the American Gardens Theater and it's a small pop-up theater. It used to be right by Fountain of Nations. Now it's right on the edge of World Showcase Lagoon. And that usually also has music in it. So there's usually at least 2 stands doing music in every festival.
Mm-hmm.
But they could do so much more with it.
I will say, I did really like that the Professor Owl character was the main mascot. That was very... I feel like it was... it both made sense for Epcot as far as... You know, Epcot is... If they're going to pull out a relatively obscure character like that, Epcot would probably be the place to do it.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm wearing this damn Sunny Eclipse shirt for a reason. Y'all missed an opportunity. Bring Sunny Eclipse to the next Epcot Chella. God damn it. Sunny Eclipse for Epcot Chella 2025.
I think I might be with you there. Sunny Eclipse.
That being said, I did love that they brought back Hallex. That was amazing.
That was very fun. It was like right up against the line of like, that's a bit too Armchair Imagineering fan servicey, but doesn't cross the line. It's just like the perfect level of fan service.
You know what? To tell you the truth, I genuinely think that Disney knows how popular obscure, weird theme park shit is now, and they are not afraid to market it.
Oh yeah,
they're afraid to actually do anything permanent with it. With, you know, like, refusing to give Figment any sort of like actual good new ride. Instead, like, hey, we got a meet and greet. That's good enough, right?
Yeah.
But they will push it. They will push weird shit like that. Yeah, Sunny Eclipse, you would have been great for the lineup, I think. Just doing this as a puppet.
Tegan does say that she thought about putting him in on the lineup. Which I liked the mix of the different stages and having the rock stage have the more fun things like the Hallex and the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Muppets. I think Sunny Eclipse will fit really well there with the lineup you got.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that different days, like you had days where you had big musical acts coming in. You had days that were essentially like not open mics, but local days essentially. A really good mix of different, and that to me is kind of what got me interested in this project. And again, I don't really feel like you need to. I honestly kind of feel like not focusing on the food as much, for me personally, was a little bit of a breath of fresh air, because I kind of feel like the food culture at Epcot has almost gotten to the point where it's borderline just like, hey, let's get this stupid thing to put on Instagram. Right. It's become very Instagram centric with the food in Epcot nowadays.
I'm with you. And I think my issue wasn't the food or lack of focus of food, because what they had there was good and it was the right amount. I think they only did like 5 booths. But generally, the food booths have a theme that tie into the theme of the festival. And this one didn't really. It was just food up our culture, so they're here. Like, these felt like food and wine booths. They didn't feel like festival of music booths. And I think that was the cut that caught me up. I don't know how you... What was that?
Tegan can probably speak to this, but Tegan, I'm assuming that most of the food in music festivals are just generic. So wouldn't that then fit with the theme of a music festival? Like, I'm assuming that music festivals aren't like trying to go out of their way to theme their dining.
You raise a good point. But they are themed. But they're themed to countries.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, it's not that their food was bad, and it's not that they didn't focus on anything like that. I just wanted to tie into the theme more, and that was the one little... If you had made like specifically music fest food as the theme, like specifically bad food,
right.
Like, this is where you get your deep fried Oreo that we dust with powdered sugar.
Just literally have like the Firefest special, just the single slice of bread with the single slice of cheese.
And it would probably still taste better than the food from Cosmic Rays.
Oh my... Oh god.
I love Sunny Eclipse. We need to get him out of that place.
Right.
Food
Where
truck,
would you
that would
put
have been
Sunny
great.
Eclipse? Maybe like the Space Mountain queue somewhere? Maybe?
Yeah, that could work.
I don't know.
Just on a stage in Epcot, in Space Mountain somewhere.
Oh my god! Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah. Okay, I have long since thought that Daft Punk should do a Space Mountain overlay where they're just like in the Alive 2007 like giant pyramid thing in the middle of the fucking track. Like, that would be just ridiculous. Oh, right?
New prompt, Daft Punk Space Mountain. Forget your benches and your bathrooms that you're walking on now. Daft Punk Space Mountain.
It was a project. So You Want to Be an Imagineer. Basket Buddy did some incredible concept art for it. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Put Sunny Eclipse and Rock and Roller Coaster. I like that.
Oh, absolutely. 1000%.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, if we're going to replace Aerosmith with a Disney character, it would probably be either Powerline or Electric Mayhem.
Oh, yeah.
But no,
Sunny Eclipse. The best
honestly, Sunny Eclipse isn't even rock music. Like, honestly, would any Sunny Eclipse songs even go well with that ride?
No.
God.
Not in the slightest.
Okay.
It'd be like when you do the secret songs on Rock and Roller Coaster. Not Rock and Roller Coaster. Rip Ride Rocket. You can do the secret songs. You do Rainbow Connections, one of them. I think it would fit as well as that.
That is, you know what? That secret song menu is like the one redeeming element of Rip Ride Rocket. I do like that is there. It does make that attraction pretty versatile.
It really does. I really like riding it with my favorite is Immigrant Song, because then it's like Rip Ride Ragnarrocket.
Yeah. All right.
That's the exact chuckle that deserved. Thank you.
All right. Anything else on Team Boats?
I really love the presentation, like the visuals of it. Really great visual design with it.
I think the
merch by Rare Panther
scheme, really quick, the purple color scheme, the owl is like the main visual motif. Like, everything really flowed together very well.
Oh yeah. Muppet Fan or Lord Fosnader did a good job branching out with some different kinds of concept art here. I'd like to see them try something new, because I think this is the first time they've done art that wasn't a map. They did a good job. They did the rock stage and something else. I think it was a food booth. I I really like the international showcases of music in the World Showplace Theater, though I don't know if you hear Architectural Guinea Pig, or if you're gonna see this later. What is Antarctica music? Because I like the idea. I was just rolling with it as like the different like continents throughout the week. I don't know what Antarctica music is.
Just loop back around to like African music again or something.
Yeah.
Just
Like
skip
all of Asia was one day, all of Africa's one day. So we
Right,
could
right.
branch out. Yeah, just ice popping. It's penguins.
It's literally just ambient wind noises the whole day.
Yeah. Oh, I really like the theater showcases having some musicals, and the Tomorrow's Child Epcot musical was great.
Yeah, that was really interesting for sure.
I feel like having theater performances that want musicals stuck out to me as a weird detail. Felt like it kind of didn't fit fully.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that were musicals loved them.
I feel that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Other than that, I think that's all I got to say. Do you have anything else?
I think I'm good. Guys, so far in the MVP voting, we only have one vote for Tegan, and that's it. So, yeah, get in your MVP votes. All right.
Who is GWA? Who's Gwa? Ooh, fun. Looks like a big rock band.
I know that they are a rock band of some sort. I have not listened
Heavy metal.
to them. I'm assuming so.
Nice.
Right.
Pie. Shit. Incorporated.
Okay, you know what? We're going to move on to Team Birds in just a second, but I totally meant to open the show with this. I apologize.
Yeah.
This is a very big issue. It is probably the biggest issue of our day, and I'm going to keep a running update on it. Have you visited the Smell-O-Fence?
I have not.
You're in Florida, and you haven't visited the Smell-O-Fence? Do you have a pulse?
You're right. How can I stay away from the Smell-O-Fence? It's difficult.
I'm literally going to ask you every fucking podcast until you actually go and do it.
I'll have to see when my next day off is. See if there's any reservations available. You can
get in for free, right? I assume so. Yeah.
I'll see what I can do.
Just do it, just to placate me, dude.
Muppets fan, what's 10 hours in the face of Smell-O-Fence?
I want a boots on the ground trip report on the glory that is the Smell-O-Fence.
I like boots on the ground as a phrase in relation to seeing Smell-O-Fence.
As a matter of fact, I'm officially going to change my religion from the thing that I'm not going to name so that Obi doesn't have to pull up their chart to just the Smell-O-Fence. I am the cult of the Smell-O-Fence now. Have you heard the good word of the Smell-O-Fence? Yes, do it vlog style, please. That would be genuinely hilarious.
I'll see what I can do.
All right. Okay, moving on. Team Birds.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, for me, the big thing that stood out to me really was this. Honest to God, may be one of the best like food related projects that I've seen on the boards in a long time. I mean, the menu was just absolutely impeccable. It was both incredibly well themed and just like speaking from a foodie perspective, very tantalizing as well.
Yeah. It was good food. It fit the theme. I like how it wasn't just a food booth, but each food booth had like a sign next to it explaining like the inspirations and the stories that they're referencing.
Mm-hmm.
Like A+ by Monroe Red. And while there wasn't much about them, I would have liked to see more. I did really like having the storytellers as extra entertainment.
That's the thing. That to me, the fact that the storytellers, as much as I think the food was an absolute home run for this project, and it absolutely was. Ooh, what's Obi saying? Oh, God.
Oh, story of Epcot.
I thought when they first put it down, I literally thought it was just going to be like the Bible of the Smell-a-thons, the good book of the Smell-a-thons. Season two of this game, the Smell-a-thons are going to be the mascot.
There we go.
All right, anyways, yeah, I do think that I truly think that more of the focus, at least as much focus that was put on the food, should have been put on the storytellers. And I feel like that's kind of like the main thing that you and I are kind of like diverging on in our opinions. And honestly, I do have a pretty decent basis for why I would want this. And that is that I believe it was 2018, I had a really positive experience with Festival of the Holidays at Epcot, specifically because of the storytellers. I really, really dug the fact that they had like at least 5 or 6 storytellers in different countries. It wasn't all just Santa Clauses. It was just completely like I truly felt like it made the edutainment side of Epcot like literally come alive. It was really special for me. It was one of the most special Disney trips I've had. So because of that, I really love the concept of storytellers at Epcot. I think that they can be just totally invaluable to just adding a sense of richness and culture and education to the World Showcase. So I guess I'm just biased because I do have such a strong attachment to the concept. But yeah, I don't know. I would have really liked to have seen more of it. What was there was fine, but it definitely got overshadowed by the food stuff.
Yes, I 100% do agree. I would have liked to see more with it. I think for me, I don't count it as a negative because it is a simple concept that like I got just from what was there. So like I feel like they did fully explain the idea, even if it was only in a paragraph, because storytellers and they tell the story from the countries. That being said, I think it would have been a big positive to have more. I don't think it's a negative just having what they have.
I hear you.
In my mind, at least, because like I said, it's not a tough thing to grasp.
Now I'm going to be completely honest with you, and this is one of the main reasons why I'm not like actively pushing back against your decision.
Yeah.
It wasn't for lack of interest. It was more just, again, like the reading on my phone on the bus thing. I very much skimmed the nighttime spectacular. That being said, I did think that it was a little bit ill-advised to have a nighttime spectacular on that level designed for just a singular festival. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was a little much. It was by Disneyman 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the America Gardens Theater, so using like very much a similar format to the Candlelight Processional, but instead of having the celebrity guests, that budget went towards pluses like dancers and soloists and all that, and it's great. It was just it was a little much.
I feel like that, like, I can totally accept the fact that the food did take a lion's share of the focus because, again, traditionally with Epcot, that is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I do think that instead of, and granted, I want to put the asterisk here with Disneyland 1. I didn't really read the whole thing, but what I saw was, it was impressively detailed, at least. Like, it did look like it was very well thought out. And if the project was to do a nighttime show for Epcot, I truly think that this on its own would be a a pretty good submission. But I do think that this is kind of where I'm really thinking, okay, y'all, like we gotta focus more on the actual storytelling element. I realize that the theme of the show was storytelling. I realize that, but
I said that in my review too, that I wish the show, even just another line or two at the end to circle it back to focus on storytelling. Because as it stands, it's just kind of like an Epcot birthday show with some loose ties to the theme of the festival.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. Any other major notes that we need to hit on here?
Let me scroll through. Oh, I did really like the storybook scavenger hunt. I think that was really fun.
That was really well done. I agree.
Yeah. I did mention that I kind of wish it was not Dreamfinder, since Figment's already the host for another festival. But also, I don't think it's bad to use Dreamfinder, especially in the Epcot Birthday Festival. It's Dreamfinder. You can't go wrong with him.
I feel like Dreamfinder actually does make a lot of sense for like the storyteller component to it.
Yeah.
Using Figment wouldn't have really made sense, but Dreamfinder is kind of like the entity that kind of like contextualizes Figment.
Exactly. Obviously, it would have been better with the Smellephant, but Dreamfinder did work solid there. Even if there's already Figment with another festival.
Right.
Other than that, I think we've touched on all the main things. Really well done food. Wish there was more Smellephants. Show was a little much and could have tied in more, but was still pretty solid. I guess, I don't know, overall, I just clicked with this festival a little bit more. It was a very close one, though.
All right. Totally fair. Okay, y'all, I'm going to give you like 2 more minutes to get in any sort of MVP votes because we only have one. And granted, I do think that Tiki absolutely would deserve it because, you know, she was on the project that I think I would have voted for to win. And she seems to be one of the creative driving forces behind it. So, you know, I'm not opposed to giving it to Tegan whatsoever, but still, I'd rather not just have her win by default. So I'll give y'all just a couple more minutes. Anything to say on this current project, Pi? Any teasers on what the teams are working on? I'm going to be dead honest. I haven't looked at the brainstorming at all.
I'm going to use some very careful phrasing here. I admire that both teams have taken advantage of this smaller round to kind of think small.
I mean, honestly, I feel like it's been a reoccurring criticism that even in projects that we really like, they've almost kind of put in a little too much. So I think this project is almost like a perfect challenge for that, because if you're putting in a lot, you're like objectively doing the prompt wrong in this case.
Yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there is in some ways a lot you can do. Look at the Tangled restroom area. But, like, don't get too caught up in it. Have some fun. Sure. Keep it simple.
All right.
I'm not going to spoil what the next prompt is going to be. I will say, though, I think a lot of players are going to like it. I hope it's probably the most out there prompt. I think you specifically, Tiki, are going to really love it.
Oh, really? Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to tell me what it is off air then.
Yeah.
All right.
Got another vote again.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to call it then. All right. Tegan, officially MVP. Which means that, yes, I do indeed get 5 points ahead. But granted, I just want to emphasize, like, I want this to be competitive. Like, I think it's boring when in a fantasy draft, one team just pulls ahead and the other team just has no chance of ever catching up. I don't want that to happen with this draft. So, Pi, like, I'm actively rooting for your team at this point. I'm dead serious about that. All right, well, I think we can pretty much end things early. I honestly don't have a lot of tangents.
I think so. It feels weird ending this early, but also these are all the shorter rounds and going quickly through them.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I gotta get ready for Survivor. I gotta eat dinner and everything. So there is that.
Sounds good. Monroe Red trying to win for Obi, hashtag plot twist. Again, like we said yesterday, it would be the funniest outcome. Well, not yesterday, last podcast.
And like I said, it is a relatively realistic outcome too.
Oh yeah. But I think for now, I gotta go play tiny cornhole at the world's smallest barbecue.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. See y'all later. Have a good one. Smell-a-fun.